Alone against all these droids? They don't stand a chance. Jango Fett on the job.
Hey guys, Jango Fett here, hunting down games, comics, TV shows, movies, and more. And this is a review for Star Wars Battlefront. Before I start, I want to give a shout out to my man Carbon Shadow Gaming and the Battlefront Network for getting me a free copy of the game. They went out of their way to get me a copy, so check out both of their channels. The links will be down below in the description, so definitely check out those channels. So let's do this. Star Wars Battlefront is the reboot developed by DICE, the makers of the Battlefield games, and published by EA, who I'm not a big fan of after their very shady business practices as of late. Let's talk about the good about this game. First off, the graphics are outstanding, the best looking Star Wars game to date. The details of the trees, the environment, the water, and different soldiers is done with such precision, and DICE nails it. And the sound helps with that and makes you feel like you're in an intense battle in a Star Wars universe. These two things everyone will agree with me without a doubt. The graphics are phenomenal and the soundtrack and gunfire is fantastic. Up until the sound cuts off and dies throughout playing the game. That happened to me quite a bit, but it's a lot better now as of late. And the first 1 to 2 hours are quite enjoyable, and controlling the heroes like Leia, Han Solo, and especially Boba Fett is fantastic. The other 3 heroes, however, not so much. The lightsaber combat is pretty much just spamming the attack button over and over and over again. Supremacy is definitely my favorite mode in the game. Now this is going to quickly turn into a rant part 2. I already did a rant earlier on this game. I'll put a link for that video down below in the description. So first off, I want to apologize. I want to apologize to you guys for saying it's a Battlefield game with a Star Wars skin, because it's much worse than that. It's Call of Duty with a Star Wars skin on it, which is a much worse offense. With Battlefield and Battlefront, they have classes and people actually working together as a team. There is none of that in Call of Duty and Battlefront. There's no camaraderie here, and it's pretty much every man for himself, even though it's one team versus another, which makes no sense. The player base is just so silent and unresponsive. I've never seen a more quiet multiplayer shooter in my life, other than, you know, the booming sound that plays with the music and the blaster fire. There are no classes. Instead, you get to pick your loadout of one freaking weapon, which is pathetic. Not 2? Really? And you select 2 cards like grenades or sniper or homing rockets, which is like the cheapest fucking thing ever. They always lock onto you and they always get you every single time. Then you pick a trait, which varies, and all 3 cards last for 1 use until you have to wait for like 10 to 30 seconds for a recharge. And after you pick that, you pick your gun, and only 11 freaking guns in this freaking game. What a joke. I'm pretty sure Battlefield Hardline had more guns than this shit. So fucking stupid. Who actually planned that shit? This game is not about skill. It's a race to get the best weapons and own anyone. It doesn't matter how skilled you are. You get shit weapons, you will get destroyed. That, or it's a 50-50 and whoever wins, because the blaster fire, it varies and it flies everywhere. It's just so inaccurate. This is the future of Star Wars? With totally inaccurate blaster fire? Well, it is actually based on episode 4 with the Star Troopers who can't shoot 2 feet ahead of them, so makes sense. Then you have customizations. I've never seen a more shit character customization in my life. Purely cosmetic, but all you can do is choose heads with bob cut or bald. But you can't upgrade or change your outfit or armor? Nope. Fucking Halo 3 has better customization than this. And that game came out in 2007. This is 2015, and you can't bother to do that? Lazy, lazy, lazy. I don't know how people do this, but I've seen people play as Twi'leks and Black Stormtroopers, and those are rank 50. How can you play this game for this long? And it takes forever to level up. Leveling up is just basically a Call of Duty progression system. So bland, and you don't want to level up, you just don't care. Then we have diorama mode. Oh my god, diorama mode. When a game like Godzilla, which is horrendous at best, it came out this year, has a better diorama mode than you do, something's definitely wrong with your game. But single player is a fucking joke. It's not there. It's basic survival mode with no campaign. Such laziness. No campaign? Are you serious? I'd rather play a Call of Duty campaign than play a minute of this single player crap again. And I fucking hate Call of Duty. That shows how bad this is. And I really don't feel like talking about the multiplayer modes. If you want to hear what I have to say, just check out my rant. And then there's multiplayer. And there's only 4 maps with slight variation maps for multiplayer, which vary for each mode. That's fucking it. And there's just, the maps are just exciting at first, then become boring and bland as shit. The level design is awful. Plus the spawning issues don't help. When you spawn right next to enemies constantly or into artillery fire, something is definitely wrong with your game. Spawning issues constantly occur throughout this game. It's a huge issue. It's like they didn't care. Random chaos. You die constantly and it's just so imbalanced. And no strategy used for this game. It's a blind Call of Duty shooter. I want to do a comparison between the old Battlefront games and the new one. And it's probably not fair to do this, but this game is a reboot. I just hate that fucking excuse. Because it's a reboot, it can get away with anything. But let's compare Battlefront 2 to EA's Battlefront. No, fuck it. Let's do Battlefront 1, which came out in 2004, to EA's Battlefront. Here's what Battlefront 1 had. A campaign, instant action with AI bots, galactic conquest, multiplayer, tons of maps, classes, and tons of vehicles to use. Vehicles you can use anytime. Plus, they were easy to use, especially the airborne vehicles. Here's what EA's Battlefront has. No campaign, no meaningful single player, no instant action, no galactic conquest, no classes, no AI. Pretty much all infantry combat, no vehicles. Rebels get shit on. Empire gets the vehicles, but you can hardly use them. Nobody uses vehicles. Horrendous space vehicle controls with keyboard and mouse, and it's multiplayer only. Plus, Battlefront 1 had the prequel trilogy. This one doesn't. You're getting less with this new game than with a game that came out 11 years ago. Not just Battlefront 2, but with Battlefront 1. That's pathetic. You're getting less with this game. And it doesn't help that this game is boring and bland after the first 1 to 2 hours. This is not even close to a successor to Star Wars Battlefront, and not even a decent game. It's so incomplete, deliberately for the $50 season pass. So you have to pay $110 for the whole freaking game. $60 doesn't cut it. You had to spend an extra $50 for that full Battlefront experience. Unbelievable. The gaming industry is so fucked up, and EA is still responsible for that shit. They're gonna get away with it, and most gaming companies are like this. But EA, I've always had a begrudging hate for them, and it shows with this fucking season pass and this incomplete game. Sure, it works fine. It's beautiful. There's hardly any bugs, but you're missing huge amounts of content. Huge amounts. And it's so evident in this game. Despite the great graphics and sound, this is not what makes a game great, but helps make a game great. Gameplay over graphics. If your game is boring, repetitive, and unoriginal, and lacking in anything worthwhile, then pretty graphics means nothing to me. Hell, look at a game like Mountain Blade Warband. That game is shitty to look at, but it's fucking immersive and addicting to play as hell. I spent hundreds of hours into that game, and that gameplay is just absolutely fantastic. So I'm about to do something that I never thought I would do on my channel, but fuck it, I'm gonna do it, cause since nobody has the balls to do this shit, and I'm gonna give it this fucking rating. Star Wars Battlefront gets a
shameful display! Shameful display! Shameful display!
I know it sounds harsh, but trust me when I say this. This game is not worth your time, and especially your money. $60? Hell no. I got this game for free, thank God, but I still feel I wasted my time. You're not missing anything by playing this game. It's a generic, repetitive, and boring as fuck game with fun in the first 1 to 3 hours, but after that, it's boring as shit. It's an incomplete game that doesn't deserve the Battlefront name, and especially to be called a Star Wars game, because it's none of those two things. If you're desperate, then get it for 20 bucks, but honestly, don't buy it. Stay away from it at all costs. It's a giant waste and a huge disappointment. It's the most disappointing game I've ever played in my entire life. The hype around this game was unreal, and it disappointed on every single level. And I mean what I said for my rant. I'm done with any new EA product because that shit is gonna continue and continue if we still buy into this shit. But not me, not anymore. But Django, you're gonna miss all the great A+ Star Wars games in the future. If you say so. I remember when LucasArts made great Star Wars games and never failed me. I never played bad Star Wars games. I never played Star Wars Connect, which is arguably the worst Star Wars game. But I honestly have to say, this game is the worst Star Wars game I have played. I played a lot of Star Wars games with great stories, characters, gameplay. Just fantastic stuff, and I love them all. But all this game has is pretty graphics and no substance or heart like the original Star Wars and Battlefront games. It's a Call of Duty shooter. Now the best part of this review is that I can move on and never play this game ever again. Despite this game, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that is Fallout 4. I've put nearly 50 hours into the game, and I still haven't beaten it. And I love every single moment, unlike Battleshit. Please like and comment what you think of the game Battlefront in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Django Fett, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.